liar. He's a liar. He's a liar. He's a liar. He's a liar.
All right. Welcome
to Horrific Horror Podcast. Today I'm talking with my friend Eric, and my name's Jim King, and we're going to talk Universal Monsters.
You know what I just noticed watching that?
Just now.
Was how big Boris Karloff's fucking hands are.
Right?
He's
huge.
really big.
And he doesn't look like that kind of presence outside of the suit.
When
though.
he's not Frankenstein, when he's just another character, I don't get that sense of size with him.
At all.
At all.
At all. Like, I don't know what he is. Like, I'd have to look up his stats, but I never looked at him as being a big man.
Just him laying on that gurney,
right?
And just his naked arm moving up. He looks so huge.
I always wondered about, like, the shoulder pads, too. Like, because they really boxed up that suit, you know?
Yeah.
He looks very broad-shouldered.
Yeah.
But when you see him, and maybe I'm just referencing, like, pictures I've seen later in life where he's, like, doing the grandeur, you know, older when he was doing stuff. He didn't look big. He didn't look
veil.
Exactly, when he was 60s, whatever.
Right.
He always kind of looked like he was in his 60s to me.
He's in his 60s, and he's got, like, a baby at home.
Right, one of those guys, exactly.
So, like...
But he could afford it, right? So.
Oh, yeah. But he... You know, another thing about his costume was the short... That I noticed recently was the short sleeves on the jacket.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it gave him a sense of, like, more misshapenness. You know what I mean? Like, he's just really long.
I always thought it was like they were trying to reference maybe that they couldn't find clothes big enough and that they wanted to show both the cuts.
Right.
You know, like you had to be able to see the sewn on.
I thought about that too. When I noticed how short those sleeves were, my brain was like, well, it's because they had to show the stitches, dummy.
Right.
You know?
Because that was the
because what a waste if they covered that up.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure. And the boots, those 20-pound boots.
Well, those are classic. And a lot of times, you know, I was watching The Evil of Frankenstein, The Hammer.
Okay.
Peter Cushing recently. Right. And that version of that Hammer Frankenstein is probably the closest, Frankenstein's monster is probably the closest to Universal's Frankenstein's monster.
Right, I agree.
In design.
Yeah, before.
And I was looking at the shoes, the boots. And he had the same, you know, those big clomping Frankenstein fucking platform boots. But they were, if you look at them from the bottom, they're in a coffin shape. Like the old school coffin shape.
Okay.
His shoes are shaped like fucking metal, like iron coffins. And
that's a Hammer touch. Right there,
totally.
For sure.
And he's stumbling around the laboratory, like, you know, Peter Cushing's Dr. Frankenstein is watching his creation.
And we're talking about Christopher Lee, right? Like
no. This is post Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee played Frankenstein's monster only once.
Okay.
After that,
and Cushing was Frankenstein.
Cushing was always Dr. Frankenstein.
Right.
Oh,
I love the lab in that movie.
He always had great equipment. Of Cushing did.
Right.
But he's watching his creation stumble around this laboratory. And all of a sudden, just now, at 40 years of age, I finally understood why Dr. Frankenstein put these big, heavy, clomping boots on his creature so he couldn't, like, run away.
That's what it was, to keep him in check.
Like, at least he's stumbling around, but at least he's not, when I hear him coming, he's not going to come sneaking up on me in my chateau or whatever weird. Frankenstein always had money.
Exactly.
Yeah, and Peter Cushing's Frankenstein especially emphasized his class and his station.
Right.
You know, he was always like very rich and
super snotty. He was a prick.
Super snooty.
Yeah, totally.
When
you could feel that he was better than everyone around him.
Oh, such a prick.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that feeling with Clive, or Colin Clive.
Right.
I didn't.
He seemed more desperate and.
He did.
A unique snowflake, if you will.
He did.
He just wanted to. It was like he found something he couldn't do, and he just had to do it.
Right.
But he seemed
like true genius, like real genius. Like it seemed like.
You mean
this
mad?
Yeah. Well, I personally, real genius is probably real madness.
Right.
You know, you can't be a real genius without being a little mad. You really
You gotta
can't.
tip
I
the
don't
scale
think.
one way or the
I
next.
think if you're that smart, you're it. Normal people will perceive it as madness.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
You know,
Because they don't
they
understand
just
you.
see things
But-
so different.
Right.
And Colin Clive portrayed that really
He
well.
did. Hitting Peter Cushing. Remember, I was telling you earlier that I was watching Thieves last night. And Peter Cushing
Dr. Fives.
made a.
He's the captain.
He was the captain, and it was funny how he
in
set
Dr.
dudes straight
Fives,
about.
Dr.
you know,
Fives rises again.
Yeah.
Peter Cushing is the fucking boat captain.
Fucking cameo of about 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
And,
And I forget what their exchange is. He has a quick exchange with Robert Corey.
Right, they're determining that his buddy had fallen off the boat.
Oh, that's right. And Robert Corey was like, fuck, turn around.
Yeah,
for
he was
him.
like, well, of course we're going to turn around. We're going to search till dawn. You know, was he a
Right.
good swimmer? You know, he's seeming concerned.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, you're not going to change course. We need to get the fuck going.
I'm on a timetable.
Right,
Because
right.
I'm
'Cause I'm
dying,
dying.
sir.
Exactly.
I need to get to
Right.
Egypt.
And he was like, he said that he would, he's the captain and he decides the course, but at the same time he'll take his advisement into consideration.
That's right. And he never appeared again in the rest of the movie.
No, like I thought, how could he have such a small
And
piece in it? But
you just watched it last night, right?
yeah.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. Are the Dr. Fives movies an Amicus production? Or is it Hammer?
It's not
I don't
Hammer.
think it's Hammer.
It's not Hammer.
It's got that Hammer vibe, though.
Oh, all over it.
You know?
All over it.
Like, as Amicus
The sex
Pictures
and
does.
the over-the-top acting.
Yeah.
And it was,
Like, a lot of times when I'm watching an Amicus movie, I'll think it's a Hammer movie.
right.
You know?
Right,
Like,
yeah.
did you ever see The House That Bled to Death?
No.
Or maybe, I think, it's interesting.
Sounds great.
Yeah, there's a definitely a Hammer movie. It might be The House That Bled to Death. I'm not 100% sure. It's an anthology movie. It's about a house. Amicus was great about taking a location and just let's build a movie around this location.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, well, we've got access to this.
You work with what you got.
And they totally would, because they had, I don't know, they didn't have Hammer money, you know? But
which
they
is
had
funny when you say Hammer money, because they just didn't
Hammer
have
didn't have
Universal
money.
You
Yeah,
know?
Hammer didn't have, compared to like,
That shit felt self-funded sometimes. It was
yeah.
like I wondered if some of those Hammer actors didn't get paid like in royalties later down the road, like almost nothing up
You
front.
can't, you know, guys like Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee, like you kind of wonder, you know, what kind of deals they had.
Right?
Did you ever see, there's a movie, Christopher Lee, speaking of Christopher Lee, he had a production company for a short period of time called Charlemagne something. Charlemagne Pictures. Because he's related to Charlemagne.
Okay.
If you ask Christopher Lee, he will sure as fuck tell you.
Okay.
he's
Right.
really proud of this.
All right.
As you would be, I'm sure, as,
Sure.
as an Englishman. And they made one movie, and it was the weirdest movie. It was about little kids who aren't little kids. They're it's an island full of old people, and every 70 years or 60 years, when they get old enough to die, they bring a bunch of little kids to the island and jump into those new bodies.
Okay.
And I wish I could remember the name of it. It's really...
We need Google as a search engine for these.
For sure. But go back to Colin Clive. He did a really good job. I hear it was really tragic how he kind of fell apart, especially during Bride of Frankenstein.
Right.
He was kind of a nervous fucking wreck.
He was, and it showed in the performance. And
It sure fucking did.
and
He
it wasn't-
seemed so fragile.
It wasn't. I wasn't sure if it was on purpose or if there was behind the scenes havoc.
Oh,
too,
for
you know?
sure. Like James Whale had to really coax a performance out of it. Like, had to drag it out of him.
Which is amazing because he got it.
Oh, yeah, he did really well.
Really steals the movie.
And I don't know how much of that has to do with, like, his actual state of mind at the time.
Right.
You know? But it's funny, the relationship Colin Clive had with James Whale is very similar to the relationship that Dr. Frankenstein had with Professor Pretorius.
Okay.
Is that both of them are kind of old old lecherous queens that are pulling something out of him that he doesn't want to get.
Right.
You know,
Right.
and they're gonna get it out of him,
Right.
no matter what.
Right.
You know, whether it destroys you or not, I don't give a fuck.
Exactly.
Like, I gotta create my masterpiece. And what was really funny was that Dr. Pretorius's masterpiece was tiny people.
Yeah.
Grown
Yeah.
from cultures.
Yeah,
In
which I thought was
jars.
so cool the first time I saw it.
The first time I saw it
mean,
as a kid,
the king and the queen and the it was
I was so not expecting that.
me either. And I'd already seen special effects way beyond that, but it
Right.
still caught me.
It
It
looked
still
really
stopped
good.
me, and I was like, "Wow, this is fucking 1930s."
Right?
Amazing
And
to me.
when you watch shows like, I don't know, Land of the Giants, 50 years later,
Right?
Bride of Frankenstein still looked better.
It did exactly.
It did. It still looked better. And I don't know why that
I
is,
don't
because it's a
either.
50-year difference.
Like they did a better job than remember Jason and the Argonauts when he got
Oh, yeah.
that claymation skeleton fight and stuff.
There
and it
were a
was-
lot of things from that movie that...
That was like the next
Still.
step, even though it seemed further back in technology to
You
the
know
bride.
what always struck me as odd about especially Jason and the Argonauts was the scene where I believe it's Poseidon comes up and pushes the two, and it's like a guy, like a real guy.
Right.
And for whatever reason, by that point, I was expecting a claymation or a stop motion
Right.
animation.
Right.
And when it was a real guy, I was kind of like, oh.
Like you're bummed out by it.
I was so bummed out that they didn't do like some awesome fucking
some kick-ass
creature.
cyclops.
Yeah, man. Or even if it was just because there was one point when he's pushing the Poseidon creature is pushing the two cliffs apart so that the Argos can go through. You see his tail flip up out of the water, and
Right.
it's like, oh, so he's not just a dude. Because it kind of
He
looked
is
like
a creature.
yeah.
needed
It was,
that to
I was
be
like,
there.
oh, and then that kind of gave it a pass.
It was redemption.
Yeah, a little bit, you know.
Okay.
But I love back to Colin Clive. I love Dr. Pretorius.
Right?
He's why I love Bride of Frankenstein. I will watch that movie just for some Pretorius.
Right?
The scene in the tomb,
When they're drinking and smoking. And
for whatever fucking reason, right? He goes down there with his two cronies to get supplies,
right.
and he's like, "Oh, they're ready, they're done, they've got their body parts or whatever." And the two other guys, one of them is played by the guy who played Fritz in the first one.
Right.
What's his name?
I don't remember.
I can't remember
I hated
either.
him so much, though.
Didn't you?
I
though?
did. I wanted to whip him and burn him.
Oh, yeah.
I fucking
Oh
hated
yeah,
that
little
guy.
fucking asshole.
God, right?
He was such a piece of shit. Fritz was such a piece of shit.
And for no real good reason other than he was stealing
He
his
was just
limelight.
cruel.
I mean,
He was just
a
a cruel creature.
prick.
Um,
Creature's a good way to put
he
it,
is.
too.
He is. When Pretorius is sitting in that tomb in Bride of Frankenstein, and he sets up lunch for himself, and it's probably 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the
Right?
morning,
And it's all over the top of the tomb,
and he's
right?
got it set up. Yeah, he's got like a picnic set up on the tomb, and he's all alone. He's smoking. He's clearly already eaten, and he's sipping and smoking. And the creature comes across him, and he doesn't bat a fucking eye when he sees it. Yeah. Oh, hello.
Right.
Come on in. Would you like a drink? Would you like a smoke? And one of the things
There's like
he
a
says,
skull sitting on the table, too, right?
Mhm,
Like that's part of the
yeah,
the
that he
job,
sat there because he's a
Right.
fucking freak. You know,
Right.
he's into that shit, which is something that Colin Clive, Dr. Frankenstein, you wouldn't see him set up with the skull and his food in.
Oh no, he just did. He had more of the respectable scientist
Totally,
aspect, the doctor
totally.
aspect.
Whereas Pretorius was into his dark side.
Right.
You know, he was into his shadow self. Like
Exactly.
he was all about
the
like,
basement butcher kind of
yeah,
guy.
he was all about embracing your dark.
Like when they were
side.
stealing the body parts, when they were out waiting for the funeral to end, you know, so they could dig up the fresh body, and when they got the one that was hanging in the first,
Classic scene.
he wasn't comfortable with it then.
No.
He was doing what he needed to do for
No.
the science of it.
No.
But there was no smile, there was no enjoyment to it at all. Where, you know, Torius, he would be
He's all
smirking
about
the
it.
entire time. He would be, probably
Smiling.
sifting through it,
Grinning.
deciding which would be better.
Like humming to himself. And
Wonder
just-
what kind of cultures make little people anyway.
Yeah.
Not that they ever want to be called out on their science back then. but it was,
Right.
the gigawatts and the fucking the whole things.
Pretorius War, when Pretorius comes to the castle the first time and is like, I need to talk to your boy. And he convinces Dr. Frankenstein to come back to his joint to show him his little people.
Right, for his sales pitch.
When they go back to his place and he comes back out with the little people, he has changed his clothes, not entirely. He's taken off his jacket and he's put on this little cap.
Yeah.
And as a kid, I thought that was like
A yarmulke?
a yarmulke.
Totally.
I did.
I did too.
And it turns out it isn't. It's some kind of like
medical.
it's like a wizard's cap.
Okay.
And I forget what you
So he's,
call
like,
it.
chosen the dark arts
He's
aspect of it.
definitely mixing alchemy.
I was gonna say alchemist guy.
Yes.
With the little hat. Like
yes.
back in the
right.
the old
Alchemy
pictures from
is-
Dungeons and Dragons.
That's exactly it. That's what that head.
See, I never got that from that. I'm glad you brought
I
that up.
didn't
'Cause
either.
It was just
For years, I thought
look
it
at
was
the
a
silly
yarmulke.
little hat, and why did he?
I was like, oh, Dr. Pretorius is Jewish.
Right, which didn't make sense because he seemed very Austrian.
He
but
seemed
or
extremely Aryan.
yeah, very. Right. But at the same time, yeah. Okay, so that makes sense.
Right.
Okay.
I found that really interesting because that added a different aspect to his character that wasn't purely scientific. That he was willing to go supernatural.
Right, he'll draw the pentagram on the floor to get the job done.
He will. He doesn't. He'll have all of Frankenstein's scientific apparatus, but he'll also have the pentagram on the ground in chalk and the black mirror and the fucking whatever else he might need. He doesn't care.
Right.
He'll do anything to achieve whatever goal he set for himself.
Exactly.
He's a true villain.
Exactly.
He's a true villain.
And it's odd where he's not the villain in the movie.
Pretorius?
Yeah.
You don't feel Pretorius is the villain of Bride of Frankenstein?
I don't. He was almost like a side attraction. It was.
You think so? Really?
I mean, like welcomed filler almost. Like
Yeah.
they needed something besides just a rehashing of the first movie.
Oh, for sure.
It couldn't just be a girl. There
if
had
it
to be
was
something else.
Just about the Dr. Frankenstein and the monster again, it would have been flat. As shit.
And I love how it started too with the story in the mansion. Mary, tell us the second part of your story. Tell us more about the monster.
Oh, I'd completely forgotten about the opening scene with Mary Shelley,
right?
And Lord Byron.
Yeah, and they're all sitting around hoity-toity. Tell us a
what's
scary story,
Percy Shelley.
And she's the one to do it.
And the girl who played Mary Shelley, who is the girl who played the bride.
Right, Elsa Lancaster.
Yeah, and she was really hot as Mary Shelley.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, she's really... And I knew right away that was the bride.
Right.
Like, I don't know if I'd seen the bride. I don't know. Frankenstein is one of those things that's so iconic. You've seen Frankenstein. If you've never seen the movie,
millions of places before I ever saw the movie.
Frankenstein. This is one thing I wanted to talk to you about, and that's the Frankenstein's monster is one of those things where you can see just the silhouette of it, and you know exactly what it is immediately.
Exactly, completely iconic.
The flat head and the bolts in the neck,
Yep.
and you know right away what it is. And
Any
the bride
3-year-old
is
can
the
draw.
same. You can see her silhouette.
Yep.
That's the bride Frankenstein.
It's always the hair.
The hair.
Which I thought would have been amazing to see in real life in color because it was red, but at the same time you wouldn't get the same effect.
That's another thing I was thinking about today. It's funny you mentioned that. I'm cruising around. I work at a cemetery. I'm cruising around the cemetery, and I'm like, I wonder what it would have been like to see Frankenstein in color. Like the original movie shot in color.
Mm-hmm.
Not colorized, because that looks like shit.
I hate color.
It just looks weird. But if they shot that movie in color, what that would have looked like. Because he was really green, wasn't he?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, he was very green.
I just have a hard time picturing that in my brain.
Me too.
You know?
I have a hard time with the things that I've been accustomed to in black and white
Yeah.
being color. Like, I don't even see them in color. Like, I feel like if I could go back in time and be a witness, it would be in black and white, even though I was watching the true filming, which would obviously be color. You know, like Psycho, it has to be black and white.
Right.
Like, I don't know if you know this or not, but the Addams Family house was fucking pink. The entire interior of the Addams Family home was pink because it filmed so well.
I didn't.
So to see it in real life, you're like, that's
makes
fucking
so much
horribly
sense,
disgusting. Because some of it was so light, it didn't look dark and drab. Like, they had to have that
really
bright.
bright.
It was pink.
Everything
The whole
showed. There
fucking house
wasn't like
was
a
pink
dark
and white.
spot.
Exactly.
It really, that makes lots of sense. I did not know.
Like the color of Pepto-Bismol.
No
Like, you're
shit.
just like,
Are there
what the
pictures
fuck?
of that?
Yeah, totally. You can see it on the internet. for
Oh,
sure.
I
Yeah.
gotta look at that later.
Yeah, so to see it in color ruined it for me. Like,
did it?
Yeah.
Can you not watch the Addams Family now?
No, I can watch it. It's just I just gotta block it out.
Okay.
You know, I don't acknowledge its existence.
I have
anymore.
personally not watched an episode of the Addams Family TV show.
Mhm.
Probably since I was, I couldn't even say, man, 12.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah, because it used to be on TV all the time in the 80s.
Right,
Like,
all the
fucking
time.
all the time.
And they bounced it back and forth between Hulu and Netflix. I've watched
Have
it a
they?
bunch.
See, I don't really.
I
fuck
tried to
with
get
that
my
much.
kid into it,
Yeah,
and she liked the Munsters better. So we
Okay.
went that direction. with it.
that's one of the things. Some people, you're a Monsters person or an
Right?
Addams Family
It's like
person.
Pepsi or Coke or whatever.
Mhm.
It really is.
You really
And
are. You're one or the other. Which
Yeah.
world would you rather live in, motherfucker?
I'd rather have Lily Munster.
And you'd rather have Lily Munster.
Or Pat Priest back in the day, too. I mean,
If I had to live in one of those worlds, it would certainly be the Munster world.
right?
They had a better car.
Smoking
they
car.
They had an amazing car. The house was cooler for some reason.
Totally.
Those fucking
The
stairs.
address, 1313 Mockingbird Lane, right?
Yeah. I love Spot.
I got a chance to be in those cars last year at the Mad Monster Convention.
The Hot Rod?
Yeah, right.
Because aren't there two cars?
Yes, there's the Dragula,
Right.
which is right here.
Okay.
Dragula.
Okay.
And the coach.
The coach.
If you look,
see,
it says "To Jim, thank you" from
Okay.
Eddie Munster. Because I was working the door next to Eddie Munster at the time, Butch. Yeah, I think it's Butch Patrick.
okay.
Sorry if I said it bad. I think it's Butch something.
Okay.
But I was working the door and he was super cool and he brought those cars to the show. He owns those.
Yeah.
And
Wait.
he
Eddie
owns
Munster?
those. Yeah, Eddie Munster owns
Oh,
those
so
cars.
he's
So-
made a profession out of
He
his
is.
childhood.
He's conning totally.
Oh,
he
that's
goes to
all-
all
well,
the
hey,
cons
man.
and you can sit
I think
in the
that's
cars.
great though.
He dresses up like Eddie Munster. He puts on the thing. He's
No
got Wolfie.
shit.
He's got the bangs.
Is he small?
He's a little dude. Yeah, like I'll show you pictures of me standing next
Because
to
I
him.
don't know
I'm
how
a
well that
little
would
dude.
work if he was
And
large.
he's-
You know, like
He's
a big,
like this.
yeah.
But he's
So it
still
kind of works.
it works, but he's still aging. You know, you can see it in the makeup when he puts it on for the
Aging
photo
Eddie
ops. It's not the 8-year-old that I'm accustomed to seeing.
So how old would he be now?
He's in his 50s.
That's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
he's
guess
not
because he was
that
a little
old.
kid on
And
the
he had a
show.
really nice wife too. She was sweet. She's like his assistant or whatever.
Eddie
But
must have a hot wife, or
yeah, totally.
oh fucking.
And they worked the table together, and they had the cars, and it was you could raffle to win rides in the cars, and he took you around the parking
That's
lot.
pretty cool.
And I mean, I'll show you a video later because I videoed it with my phone. When
Yeah.
those fire up, they sound just like they
That
look.
was my next question: was how do they sound?
Real deal,
Yeah.
real deal, like huge Hemi in that thing. It's
'Cause
just blah, 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 blah,
What's
blah.
his name? The guy who built the Batmobile, real famous fucking
Love that guy.
gearhead dude.
Mhm. Did you know there was a Batmobile before that?
Oh, I
just
sure fucking
recently
did
found
not.
out that there's the original Batmobile. The very first one was based on the comic book, where it just had one fin coming out of the back, and it looks
Oh,
like an
from
old,
the
like,
movies?
it looks like
Those
a
black
Porsche
and white
Boxster.
movies?
It was never used. It was an
Oh,
advertisement.
was it for the TV show?
It was from the comics and used as an advertisement
Get
at
the
like a
fuck
car lot.
out.
Only one made ever.
No
Um,
shit.
and
It was
it's
like
beautiful.
the Hudson version of it.
Kinda, yeah. You know, we're just talking, and who gives a shit? I'm gonna Google something for you guys while we're doing it. You have to see a picture of this. It's just an amazing car.
Speaking of the
Original
Batmobile.
Batmobile.
All right. Did you
It's-
Ready Player One? Did you see?
I've seen the trailer.
Did you
for
see
it.
the Batmobile in the race part?
Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool.
a lot
rides.
of cool cars in there, and
Yeah.
they're showing like the
Mad Max's car.
right
Yeah.
and Back to the Future and
Which, if I gotta say, like, if I get my pick of any movie car, I'm really torn between Mad Max's Ford Falcon and the DeLorean. I am torn. I am fucking torn, dude.
I would never get the DeLorean.
You'd never get the DeLorean, really?
No,
really?
it's not one of my. It's not in my set of
just
awesome
punching
cars.
in a fucking. I don't care if it doesn't take me to the future, as long as it makes that noise.
Do you need a flux capacitor in there?
Fuck yeah, man.
I would take a selfie with that thing going 88 miles an hour for sure.
Yeah,
like you just have to.
I don't know how old I was when I saw Back to the Future, but that movie had a huge effect on me. It had made a big impression on me.
Right.
I think Steven is well, that's Robert Zemeckis. Feels like a fucking Spielberg movie, though, right?
Right.
For fucking
Totally.
20 years, I thought fucking Back to the Future was a Steven Spielberg movie, and I'm watching it as like an adult, and I'm like, holy fuck, that's Robert Zemeckis.
It totally felt Spielberg Lucas to me.
Oh man,
it had that
didn't
whole
it?
feel. Yeah,
Didn't
totally.
it though?
Totally.
Fucking shit.
I'll
But
find that picture for you.
Okay.
So, who's your favorite monster?
that's a really hard one because I was thinking about that today. I was
Because
like,
everyone
if I'm gonna be
always
talking
immediately
monsters-
says Karloff, like immediately, and Karloff is my guy. Karloff's my
Yeah.
tattoo on my leg and stuff. But there's people that are accepting of the other ones and not so much of the other ones. Like for me, I'm not a huge fan of the Lon Chaney monster. It just the ghost of Frankenstein. Yeah, but Glenn Strange brought it back in a different way, and it was
you like I see. Okay, here.
I'm a Karloff guy.
I feel like Glenn Strange's Monster of Frankenstein was a caricature of Boris Karloff's. Like it was almost like the cartoon version
okay
of like
the blocky knockoff,
the sugar cereal version of Boris's monster. That's
Right.
what I felt. It was so down to the like 2 new suit coat that they put on
He
him.
did look real new.
He looked real clean, man.
I can't remember which one it was. They've got him on the table, and it's not the one where they brought him out of ice. I think that was Lon Chaney, but the one that they bring him out of
That was-
mud,
When they,
that's Glenn Strange, isn't it? And he's just filthy, and he's come in through a mudslide
the one
down in the cave.
where he's in,
That's House of Frankenstein.
House of Frankenstein is
Or that's House of Dracula.
it's okay.
Damn it. It's one of the...
The one where he comes out of the sulfur pit after the sulfur pit is dried up. It's all muddy, and he comes out all white and shit.
Right.
That's
Ghost of
that is Ghost of
That's
Frankenstein.
Lon Chaney.
And
Because
yeah,
he's fatter in the face, which I think is my problem.
no, I take it. Okay, wait, I take that back. I'm thinking wrong because Lon Chaney is the one who pulls him out of the dry pit.
Yes,
Right?
It's Glenn Strange. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's House of Frankenstein. I'm pretty sure.
Is it?
Yeah,
Or is it
'cause
Frankenstein meets the Wolfman?
No, it's not.
And now
'Cause it's because
they
the
kind
dude-
of fade together.
He's got
at some point.
Wolfman is there trying to get cured by Frankenstein.
Right. I'm pretty sure
And-
this is Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. I'm almost positive.
Could be.
I'm almost positive it is.
I should have watched them.
'Cause I was watching
They
it the
all
other
run
day.
together on me. So
they
that-
do, and they're easy. It's real easy because it's pretty much the same plot in every movie. Frankenstein's monster gets reanimated after being unanimated at the end of the last one, and the Wolfman's still looking for a fucking cure. That's
right.
all of those movies.
But that's House of Dracula too. That's where they
that's
fall into
House of
that one
Dracula.
too.
That's what I'm saying. They're
Count
all
Dracula or
basically
whatever.
the same point.
It is.
And
But that's the one where dude wants to put. He wants to. I think it's Karloff. It's House of Frankenstein. I'm pretty
House
sure,
of
but
Frankenstein
Karloff wants to put Lon Chaney's brain in the monster's
That's right.
body.
That's right. And he's got that hunchback guy.
Yeah, that prick that's whipping him too, and he's such a bastard too.
He didn't start off a prick.
He didn't. He just he was
He
the
got
driver.
fucked out of his-
Daniel was
yeah,
his name. The driver.
He called him Friend Daniel,
Yeah.
which I thought was especially.
He was
creepy.
his muscle that helped him break out
Yeah.
of prison. That killed everybody
He
for
killed
him.
everybody for him.
He did.
He would just
and
say,
then when
"And
Lon
now the
Chaney
driver."
shows up, the
And he
girl
would
just
go.
falls for him, and the hunchback goes
Oh,
shitty from there on.
That's
It's
right. That's right.
Because he's in love with the gypsy girl.
He's in love with the gypsy girl that they picked up along the way.
And then he makes him go in the back instead of being the driver talking to her. And
That's
then Lon
right.
Chaney starts driving, and
That's
then
right.
she falls in love with the poor. He seems so sad. There's
Yeah.
something about him.
He's so
He's a
brooding and
fucking
mysterious.
Whiny bitch. But
right. Even
At the
then,
same time,
chicks
it's a
were
bird.
all about that guy.
Right,
You
right.
know? Oh, God, I just love him. And there's this guy who's, like, willing to rip his heart out and just hand it to her. And she's like, but him, but this
Right.
other guy. And he's just
Right.
like, fuck.
And he's like, you promised you'd fix me first, and now you're
Right.
fixing everybody but me.
Right.
You know?
And then out of pure frustration, he takes a belt and just beats Frankenstein's monster.
Exactly. Just straight up
beats him.
fucking pissed off,
And
right?
it was at a point where Frankenstein's monster was conscious, but too weak to really move, to do anything.
Right?
And so he's taking it, and he's making note that this guy's beating him. And he doesn't like it.
And you know it's coming back later.
You know
it.
You know that the monster's
And that's
gonna
that
be like,
Glenn Strange droopy-eyed, but I'm looking at you.
right.
Like, as much as you think there's nothing there, there's
right.
something there. It's just
You're
holding.
right. You're so right.
All right, we're going to take a break.
All right.
We're at the 30-minute mark. Thanks for listening.